Yo, what's up guys? So for today's video, we're going to be trying out all of the player settings from Rule 1. So I'm going to be trying out Nupo, Ahmed, Crestor, and Ocal settings. Every single person I'll be going through and trying to see which settings I like the most. They might have similar settings, so it's going to be like slight tweaks here and there. We're going to start off with Crestor, the coach's setting. So let me find those really quick. He's using 109, 270, 100, -5. 0.45 and then 1.2 here. These feel pretty good. These are actually this is a variation of the really common setting used in the Middle East, which is actually something that's stemmed from Gimmick, my old teammate. So Gimmick used 270, 100, -5, 110 here, 0.4. And then Sipical used that and became the best player in NA with that. And then once Sipical kind of dominated with that, Sipical made it really popular to use those settings again. Justin switched to them, I switched to them, and that was really popular in NA. And I think that's when a lot of the Middle Eastern players started to get more used to using that, and all of those guys stuck with it, and they're insanely good now. So I don't know if we'll see something like this today. I'm gonna look at what the guys are using, but yeah, these are really, really good settings. I recommend something like this, and 109 actually makes a pretty big difference. Honestly, 109, you wouldn't think that this 109 to 110 makes a big difference, but it really does. Changes the whole feel of the game, and I think that it's actually something you should mess with if you haven't ever tried it before. I think it actually changes the way the game feels quite a bit. Even though it's one slight change of a setting, it makes the game completely feel like a new environment for some reason. Like the way you view everything, your perception of things. Everyone comes off a little bit slower, stuff like that. I don't really like using it anymore. I used to use this for a decent amount of time, 109, but currently I'm definitely not a fan of the way it would feel in like a game setting. But it feels good in free play for sure. Let's go over to Ocal settings. So next, he's actually using the very common setting in the Middle East right now, which is exactly what I just told you guys. 110, 270, 100, -5.4. So it's just a slight variation. From 0.45 down to 0.4 and then 110. So this is exactly a setting that I'm extremely used to. Honestly, this is something that I use for probably on and off the last like 2-ish years, but I would say more often than not I was using 90 instead of 100, but the same settings. So not a very big difference, but I don't really like the higher height settings anymore. Personally, I always opt for the 90 height settings, as I was basically the first person to give 90 a proper try and competitive, and then I ended up winning Worlds that season, and then you started to see everyone kind of switch to 90. So it's a cool bit of camera setting lore there. But yeah, the 100 height, it feels good, but to me, the perfect height for me and the way I like to play and the way that feels good for like flip resets, air dribbles, mechanics in general, is 90 height for me for sure. 100, like I feel like it's good in some ways and lacks in a lot of other ways for me. So I don't like to use it. But I like the way that they feel. But again, it's just a matter of like when I'm playing a match, like actually playing a match with these settings, it's not really going to be what I'm looking for, because it's a little bit too high, and I feel like my perspective changes on challenges and stuff like that. And also my first touches aren't exactly what I want them to be every time. So we're going to move on to Ahmed's, which actually looks like it might be the exact same as Nupo's, but there's a slight change, which is 110, 270, 90, -5, so 90, -5, 0.4, and then he's using 1 on transition speed. So this is exactly my season 6 settings. This is 100% my season 6 settings, which I love these settings. I mean, like I said, I was a firm believer in 90 before there was a lot of players playing 90, or there was actually nobody playing 90 if you go back and check back then. So yeah, I advocate for 90 every single time. I think it makes flip resets feel better. I think it makes just mechanics in general feel better, feel cleaner. And all the players that use 90, you can immediately tell that they're using 90 because of the way they play usually. Like they're usually quicker players, usually have really good first touches, really good mechanics, and really intentional about what they're doing with the ball, usually. And I always found that interesting, that you can actually tell like a lot of tendencies based on someone's settings as well. Like they're going to be really, really consistent at getting their flips and just being in the right spot to get that first touch in the air every time. Yeah, this is actually Nupo settings, but there's a slight change from Omnids to Nupos, and that is the transition speed, which makes a big difference. So Nupos is 1.5. If you guys don't know what transition speed does, it's basically the speed in which the ball cam flicks on and off. So this is 1.5, this is Nupos, and then we'll go to what Omnids is on at 1.0. You see how it's like a slight slow movement instead of like a snappy jarring movement, right? So 1.5, I usually use 1.2. So my settings that I've been using is all of this, except those on -4, I believe. So all of this -4 and then 1.2 here. But anyway, we're using Nupos now. So let's see how this this transition speed feels. I think the good thing about this transition speed is if you're going for like an air dribble bump, for example, you can quickly like turn it off and cancel out of the air dribble. But you can keep, like, for example, starting air dribble here. I'm deciding to go for air dribble up now. I turn it off. You see how quickly it snaps off, and I can just lock onto the guy that's jumping up there. A lot of like small benefits to this. I think that ultimately it comes down to preference, like what you'd feel better using. I don't like using super high personally, but I mean the settings are exactly what I would use, like identical to what I've been using basically, outside of just like a slightly different angle, and that's just because I was like I wanted to change, but I didn't want a massive change, so I went from -5 to -4. But I actually really like these settings. I would say that for the most part, the Rule 1 guys are all using stuff that I would definitely use. I approve all their settings, even Crestor settings, the ones that are showing up there with 109. I definitely approve those settings. I think those settings are still extremely viable, and you're seeing that through the major. I mean, Ocal had played at the major, played really well using those, and you saw the Falcons guys are all using the 100 -5 settings. Nupo looked like one of the best players in the world at the major using the 90 -5 settings. So like, these are all like certified banger settings for sure. Like I absolutely love these. But yeah, it's gonna be it for camera settings review. I honestly, like I said, I approve of all of them. I think they're all great. If I had to pick one, I think I would probably go Omid or Nupos. Fun fact, I'm actually using Nupos Sense right now, so I would probably advocate for Nupos. He inspired me at the major, I'm not gonna lie. I saw the way he's playing, he looked pretty insane, and he's got a lot of grind in him, he got a lot of passion in him for the game, it looks like. So yeah, I'm actually on his sense and stuff, trying to get used to higher sense, and that's been pretty fun to adjust to as I just got back from the major and try to like de-rust, try to just enjoy these settings. But yeah, the camera settings was pretty close to what he was actually using. I just wanted to use his sense. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for supporting Rule 1 at the major, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.